Hi guys, welcome back to A Bookstore again. So for today's book, I'll be sharing with you guys about one of a very mysterious buildings. I don't call it buildings. Basically, it's a place to honor the death, and it is as old as the Great Pyramids. And it's very mysterious because you don't know. It has many mystery in here. So yes, it is the Stonehenge. So let's get started to see to read what it is. In the south of England, about 90 miles west from London, sits the Salisbury Plain. It is a love-looking area. There are a few trees, not much grows except grass. Few creatures live there except sheep. Yet the Salisbury Plain is famous. Let's see. So there's some sarsen stone, um, which, which is what visitors first see. Inside the circle is another circle of stones. They're called blue stones. There are only 6 now, although once there may have been as many as 60 blue stones. The blue stones were put after the sarsens. The largest is called the Great Trilithon. Only one of its standing stone is still upright. The trilithons formed horseshoe 45 feet across. More than likely, it was a standing stone that simply fell over. Around the stones is a ditch and a bank with 35-foot wide entrance, which is called the causeway. Near it lies Slaughter's Stone. So this is how stone is spelled. So the building of Stonehenge was a huge job because the stone was very heavy, and back then there wasn't any horse or anything to. People haven't thought of those to carry the stone, so basically people have to push it, and it was like this. So when one generation died, the next generation of laborers kept up to the work. From 2300 to 1900 BC, the blue stones were rearranged many times. Stonehenge was rebuilt and redesigned and modeled over several hundred years until 1600 BC. What we see today was made during this period. Around 1500 BC, life on Salisbury Plain was changing. People were making better tools and weapons out of metal. The first known writing about Stonehenge, dated around AD 1130, tells the story of a king who wanted to build a memorial to honor 300 soldiers who were killed in the battle. He asked Merlin, the famous magician, to help. It was said that Merlin brought stone from Ireland around 5th century. Merlin then made himself 20 feet tall and lifted the crown stone into place, nothing to it. Even if Merlin had real magic powers, he could not have built Stonehenge. According to legend, he lived thousands of years after Stonehenge was completed. So it was just, it wasn't a true story, it was just a legend. The Romans worshipped many gods and built many temples for them, but the ancient Romans cannot take credit for Stonehenge. Through carbon dating, we now know Stonehenge was already ruined for thousands of years before the Romans came to England around 8040. They believed that nature was sacred or holy. To archaeologists, the late 600s and 1700s, the layout of Stonehenge suggested that it had been built by people who respected nature. So Stonehenge must have been built by them, right? So it's wrong again. There is no connection between the Druids and people who built Stonehenge. Although they probably used Stonehenge at some point, the original Druids lived 2,000 years after Stonehenge was built. So nothing about Stonehenge is simple to figure out. For instance, all those giant stones, where did they come from? At one point, there may have been over 160 of them. So as we know, back then, delivering these things is very inconvenient. So thousands of years ago, when Stonehenge was built, there was no machine or even metal tools. People didn't have horses or oxen. It would have been taken a lot of manpower to move giant stones. On June 21 every year, the sun rises over the heel stone in line with the center of Stonehenge. It shines through the double standing stones inside, and light goes through the middle of the horseshoe of stones. Then the rays hit the altar stone at the center. This marks the summer solstice, what the longest day of the year is called. So was Stonehenge a tool for astronomy, sun worship, or more practically used as a calendar? In 1925, a pilot saw white chalk marks in a plowed field of 2 miles from Stonehenge at Durrington, Wales. It looks like white circle, a lot like Stonehenge. He had discovered what came to be known as Woodhenge. Woodhenge was built hundreds of years after Stonehenge. This circle has 6 rings of post holes inside a ditch. The holes held wooden posts that were perhaps 25 feet high. So there were many discoveries later on. Archaeologists, treasure hunters, and the curious have been digging at Stonehenge for centuries. And not only people, rabbits too. It's a problem for modern archaeologists because so much of the site had been disturbed. So kings also have visited Stonehenge too, so many kings have visited it. So in 1901, some of the stones were leaning dangerously and had to be propped up with wood. One stone in particular looked like it was ready to fall. William Goldwyn was the archaeologist in charge of straightening that stone. So a crowd gathered to watch the dig. They thought Goldwyn might find treasure, but he didn't. But he made another interesting discoveries. The upper layer of dirt had stone chips, pieces of broken glass and pottery, clay pipes, stem pins, buttons, and some Roman coins. A layer of stuff left by tourists. In 1901, the owner of Stonehenge hired a guard to try to protect the stones. He built a fence and started charging admission. In that first summer, 3,770 visitors paid to get in. One thing that fascinates us about Stonehenge is that it's so much more permanent than we are. Stonehenge had lasted 5,000 years. It could easily lasted another 5,000. In 2015, scientists made an incredible discovery at Durrington, Wales. Under about 3 feet of dirt, they found the remains of 30 huge standing stones. Archaeologists call the new discovery Superhenge. The stones were placed in a C shape facing the River Avon. So here's how it looks like. It's too big that you guys can see it fully. With more discoveries, we are also left with more questions. People still argue about the purpose of Stonehenge, who built it, where the stones came from, and how they are placed. Maybe you have theories of your own. With the mysteries of Stonehenge, it is good to keep an open mind and wait for scientists to catch up if it can. So that was the end of our book today. I'm sorry it was a little bit short, but that's all about Stonehenge. It's still mysterious, and I'm actually eager to I want to find out what's the truth about it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this book today and learned something about Stonehenge. I hope you have a nice weekend with your family too. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!